Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a topic that's super relevant for anyone managing diabetes or just trying to make healthier choices. Fruit and how it fits into a diabetes-friendly diet. We've got a whole bunch of medical excerpts and research summaries to dig into.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Really excited to explore this because I think there's a lot of confusion out there.
There is. It's interesting because I think a lot of people think fruit is like off limits if you have diabetes. But you know what? The American Diabetes Association actually says that pretty much any fruit is okay.
Oh, really? Wow, that's surprising. I think a lot of us have heard that, like, people with diabetes got to avoid fruit like the plague. So what's the catch here?
Well, the catch is that it's all about how you eat it. It's not a
Mhm.
free pass to just go crazy on fruit. The way we eat it is just as important as the type of fruit that we choose.
Okay, so we're talking portion sizes, maybe what we eat it with.
Exactly. It's not as simple as just grabbing any fruit off the shelf. You got to be a little more strategic.
So it's about making informed choices.
Yeah, you got to know what you're doing. And that's where those terms, glycemic index, GI, and glycemic load, GL.
Yeah.
Oh, man, remember those?
I do, but honestly, sometimes I get those mixed up. Can you give us a little refresher on what those actually mean?
Sure. So GI, that measures how quickly a food raises your blood sugar. Think of it like this. Watermelon is like a sprinter. It spikes your blood sugar super fast.
Okay, so a rapid spike.
Yeah. And then cherries, on the other hand, they're more like marathon runners. They release energy slowly because they have low GI.
Oh, okay, so some fruits are like a quick burst of energy and others are slow and steady.
Exactly. And then you've got GL, which takes into account the amount of carbohydrates in a serving. So it's not just how fast the sugar hits your system, but also how much of it there is to actually process.
Oh, I see. So a high GI fruit, if you only get a little bit of it, might actually have a low GL.
You got it. That's why watermelon, even though it's high GI, can still have a surprisingly low GL if you watch your portion size.
Makes sense. So I guess the million-dollar question is, which fruits are the superstars when it comes to managing blood sugar?
Well, based on all the research, cherries, strawberries, and plums, they take the lead. They've got low GI, low GL, and they're packed with fiber.
Wait a minute, cherries. Those are so sweet. I never would have guessed they would be considered diabetes-friendly.
I know, right? It's amazing. They are sweet, but they have a low GI, so they don't cause those big blood sugar spikes. Plus, they've got a decent amount of fiber, and that helps to slow down sugar absorption even more.
So it's not just about avoiding all the sweet stuff altogether. It's about understanding those GI and GL numbers and how they work together.
Exactly.
Now, what about other fruits like pears? I feel like pears are always recommended as a healthy choice. Where do they fall in this spectrum?
Pears are a great example of how fiber can totally change the game. They've got a moderate GL, but a single pear has a whopping 6 grams of fiber.
Wow.
And that fiber slows down sugar absorption, and it keeps you feeling full longer.
So even if a fruit isn't like a low GL superstar, it can still be a good option if it's high in fiber. What about the fruits that maybe we need to be a little more careful with? Like, I love a really ripe banana.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those.
Those super sweet ones.
Yeah, things like watermelon, ripe bananas, and also dried fruits. Those are definitely higher on the GI and GL scales. But that doesn't mean you have to say goodbye to them completely.
So it's about moderation and being strategic.
Exactly. Portion control is key. And another really good strategy is to pair them with protein or fats, which can help to slow down the sugar absorption.
Right.
So you could do something like a small serving of mango with some Greek yogurt, or maybe sprinkle some nuts on top.
Oh, yeah, those sound delicious. It's like you're creating a team of nutrients to help manage that sugar rush.
You got it.
You know, speaking of delicious combinations, one of the research papers you sent me actually talked about Indian cuisine and how it often naturally pairs fruit with protein and healthy fats.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
I love that.
There are so many traditional Indian dishes that do this really well.
There was that yogurt parfait with mangoes and pomegranate seeds and chopped pistachios.
Yeah.
And then there's chana chat, which is chickpeas, apples, pomegranate, and peanuts.
It's like built-in portion control and balance right there in the dish.
Exactly. It just goes to show that you can have delicious food and still manage your blood sugar. So we've busted the myth that all fruit is off limits. We've learned about how understanding GI and GL can help you make informed choices.
It's about making smarter choices.
And it's not about restriction. It's about knowledge and strategy. This deep dive has already been so eye-opening, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what other insights we uncover.
That too.
We were just talking about pairing fruits with protein and fats to kind of balance things out.
Yeah, it's a great strategy.
But I feel like there's another layer to this whole fruit and sugar thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's not just about slowing down the sugar absorption. It's also about understanding how our bodies actually process the different types of sugars that are in fruit.
Right, right.
We have glucose and fructose and sucrose. I've always wondered this. Why is fruit, with all this sugar, still considered healthier than, say, a candy bar?
That is a great question, and that's where fiber comes in again. Fruit has natural fiber, and that fiber acts like a traffic controller. It slows down how those sugars get absorbed into your bloodstream.
Oh, okay.
So instead of getting that sudden sugar spike and crash like you would with a candy bar, the energy release from fruit is much more gradual and sustained.
Okay, so fiber is like the unsung hero here.
Totally.
So back to those sugars.
Okay.
Can you remind me again, how are those different?
Sure. So glucose is the simplest sugar. It's absorbed directly into your bloodstream for quick energy.
Okay.
It's like your body's primary fuel source.
Got it. Glucose is ready to go, like an instant energy boost. What about fructose?
Fructose is different. It's mainly processed by the liver, and it can either be converted into glucose for energy, or it can be stored as fat.
Interesting.
And this is where it gets interesting because some people actually have difficulty absorbing fructose efficiently.
You're talking about fructose malabsorption, right? I remember reading about that in one of the research summaries you said.
Exactly. It's a digestive condition where your small intestine doesn't absorb fructose properly.
Yeah.
And it can lead to some uncomfortable symptoms like bloating and gas.
Oh, yikes. So even if a fruit is low GI, if it's high in fructose, it could still be a problem for some people.
Precisely. It's just another thing to consider, especially for those with diabetes. It highlights the fact that there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right, right.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah, that makes total sense. This actually makes me think back to something else you said earlier about how simply restricting fruit intake might not actually significantly improve blood sugar control in some cases.
Right.
That seemed kind of counterintuitive to me at first.
Well, yeah. And it's important to remember that managing diabetes is about so much more than just focusing on individual foods.
Oh.
It's about a holistic approach that includes things like your genetics, your lifestyle, medications, and so many other factors.
So even though we're zeroing in on fruit in this deep dive,
Right.
it's really just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to managing diabetes effectively.
Exactly. And here's something else that might surprise you. Research suggests that certain fruits, like blueberries, grapes, and apples, could actually be linked to a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes in the first place.
Oh, wow. Really? So we're not just talking about managing existing diabetes, but potentially even preventing it.
That's what the research seems to indicate. These fruits, packed with antioxidants and other beneficial compounds, they might actually have a protective role.
Wow. That's incredible. So choosing the right fruits is not just about managing blood sugar. It could actually contribute to overall long-term health and disease prevention.
Exactly. It really underscores the importance of a balanced and varied diet, rich in whole foods like fruits and vegetables,
Right.
for optimal health.
It's amazing how much we've learned about this whole complex relationship between fruit and diabetes in just this short, deep dive.
I know. It's fascinating.
It's definitely challenged some of my assumptions.
Mine too.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, and we're not done yet.
Oh.
There's one final fascinating thought I want to share with you based on all this research we've been looking at.
Okay, lay it on me. Okay, lay it on me. What's this final fascinating thought?
Well, it goes back to how our bodies process those different sugars in fruit. Remember how we talked about fructose and how it takes a different route than glucose?
Yeah, fructose is handled mainly by the liver. Right.
Right. And we talked about how some people have trouble absorbing it efficiently.
Fructose malabsorption.
Exactly.
Ah.
For those folks, eating high fructose fruits, it can actually lead to some digestive issues.
Oh, so even if you're carefully choosing those low GI fruits?
Yeah, even then, if they happen to be high in fructose, you could still have problems.
So it really is about knowing your own body
It really is.
and how it responds.
It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
No. So what should someone do if they think they might have trouble with fructose?
Well, the first thing is to talk to your doctor or registered dietitian.
Right.
They can help figure out if fructose is a trigger for you and, give you some guidance.
Okay, so talk to the experts. It sounds like keeping a food journal and noting any reactions after eating certain fruits might be helpful too.
Oh, absolutely. Paying attention to your body's signals, That's key.
Yeah.
You can start to see patterns and make adjustments to your diet based on what you learn.
This deep dive has really been a journey. We've busted myths, learned about GI and GL, explored how different sugars are processed, uncovered the complexities of fructose malabsorption.
Wow, yeah,
It's amazing how much there is to know about fruit.
right. It seems so simple, but it's really not.
It's not.
And this is just the beginning. Armed with this knowledge and the support of your healthcare team, you can make informed choices, enjoy fruit, and still manage your diabetes effectively.
It's not about restriction.
You know,
It's about understanding
yeah,
and making choices that work for you.
exactly. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep enjoying all the deliciousness that fruit can offer.
I love that. Well, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. Until next time, happy and healthy snacking, everyone.